Hello everyone and welcome to video 3 of the Euro show here at the Back Post. We've got no Adam, but we do have a Jay. Hello Jay.
Jay, how you doing, mate?
I'm alright. The sun's shining. It's probably going to go in during the course of this video, but if that happens, I can only apologise. What are we talking about today, Jay? I'll tell you.
Oh, great, cool.
I'll tell you. Sorry, I've just opened my beer right next to the mic as well without realising. So there's another job for me. We're going to be talking about how we think England are going to approach that first game against Croatia. An absolutely crucial game against the team that knocked us out of the last major tournament. It's really difficult, we found, to talk about this without accidentally going into what Southgate's going to do, what the dream team is if everyone's fit, and what the realistic team is with the injuries we've got. It's complicated, so we're going to break it down into 3 teams. The first one could probably be described as mine and Jay's ideal team, playing 4 at the back. Then there's mine and Jay's 5 at the back team. And then finally we're going to round out off with what we think Southgate's going to do. And before I bring Jay back in, pretty much for the purposes of this versus Croatia match, we're ruling out Harry Maguire and Jordan Henderson. Yeah? Is that fair, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's very clear that they're not fit to play. I mean, Jordan Henderson played a bit against Romania, but he didn't look up for it. It's a bit of a weird one, like as why they're there if they're not fit, but that's another story. But yeah, we're just going to rule them out for now.
So it's a very interesting point about maybe not so much Harry Maguire because he hasn't played any minutes, but I have a borderline huge fear, Jay, that we will be seeing Jordan Henderson in the starting lineup against Croatia. Do you share that worry?
Yeah, I'm not happy with it. Listen, I know Jordan Henderson is a very influential character at England. Everyone respects him, everyone likes him, but I don't want to see him starting. I think we've got people that can play his role very well. There's people that are much younger than him, and he's clearly not fit. I don't want this to be a damning indictment of Henderson. I think he's proved us all wrong in the last couple of years that he actually is a good footballer, but you don't want a half-fit player. You want to play
Absolutely
everyone
not.
fully fit. So,
and,
yeah.
He didn't cover himself in glory taking that penalty from Calvert-Lewin.
Oh,
it also reminded me of the fact
shit.
that he was the one player that missed the penalty in the shootout against Colombia.
And he's done that for selfish reasons. He's done that to try and bring himself up, get a goal. You
say bring himself up, Jay. Get his first England goal.
Get his first England goal. Get
the
his
outfield
confidence
player
ready.
with the most caps in midfield, I think. So obviously not the defence, without scoring. It's not a good stat to have.
And it's not good that you're then trying to like pull rank and get a nick a goal just for your own self benefit. That wasn't a good image. But you know what? Southgate clearly didn't like what happened there as well. So that's at least a positive to take from that. Yeah, that was horrible, man. That was really annoying. And another thing to note on these friendlies that we're just quickly mentioning, they gave away absolutely nothing. We didn't see any of the Chelsea City players come in. The players that aren't going to be going to the tournament were playing, like Lingard and Ward-Prowse. So it was a really weird one. So we're trying not to gauge from that
Ward-Prowse
too
could
much.
have got a handful of assists as well against Romania. I was watching some of the balls he was putting in, and I was really impressed. I thought on the back of his performance, he was very unlucky not to get the nod for the 26 man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone thought it might not be him until that game, and then that game was like, oh shit, like this is what he can bring.
Especially without the likes of Trent Alexander in there doing it. But on the subject of being disappointed of the lack of James Ward-Prowse, that doesn't mean we don't like Ben White as we move into what mine and Jay's ideal back 4 team would be without Maguire and Henderson, because they're clearly shouldn't
transition.
be there. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? For starters off, all these teams are going to have Jordan Pickford. If it was absolutely up to me, I'm a Dean Henderson man, but I think there's just no point having that discussion anymore. Clearly, Jordan Pickford's number 1. I'm not fighting it anymore, so he's our number 1 too. Is that fair to say, Jay?
Yeah, I think yeah, I had nothing to say.
Good. So starting with that transition, 2 at the back, Jay. without Harry Maguire fit, you put a post up saying Connor Cody. We then had a discussion about the fact that a back three is just not the place for Connor Cody. Sorry, a back two is just not the place for Connor Cody. I think we both don't trust Tyrone Mings.
No, he's a bit just lacks that kind of composure, doesn't he? I think he lacks that composure, and he lacks that kind of just that extra bit of quality to be a proper centre back, especially going into such a big tournament.
That to be said, I think they're both excellent people. If you've seen the video that England put out of Mings and Cody just having a crack, great, great people. So there is a dog, and I apologise. And with that, I really like Ben White. I think he's composed. I think the way Brighton play suit him to the ground. He's a midfielder. He's kind of what John Stones should be. He's comfortable on the ball. He can distribute. He's played centre defensive mid for Brighton this season. Dropped into the midfield, pulled back, defended well. Leeds absolutely loved him. Brighton absolutely love him. Ben White, he's fantastic. I love him.
Yeah, he's earned. He's very much earned it, hasn't he? Like you said, Leeds, he played fantastic there. Brighton, one of the most unfortunate teams in the Premier League this season, but he's shown in that team, and he's got the call up. And yeah, I just think he needs to be in it. This is the problem England have at the moment. We don't have that many great centre backs, and probably our best centre back is injured. So it's a bit of a difficult one. So I do think we can trust Ben White here.
I agree. John Stones, it's obvious. He's England's second best defender. He will cost us a goal at some point in the tournament, but
he was a little bit shaky in that Champions League final. And it's the first time we've seen that from him in a while. But he tried to chest it out at one point, and it just kind of went to a Chelsea player. That made me nervous for this. It's a slight bit, but yeah, no, he of course he's had a great season as well. So
yeah, you don't want to be going into a major tournament with White and Mings either. So Stone's going to get the nod. This isn't as controversial as it sounds. Me and Jay both agreed that probably in a back four, it's Luke Shaw. He gets the nod in a back four.
Yeah. I mean, they play a back four, don't they? At United, he's been excellent there. I personally think him and Chilwell are almost the exact same. There's
almost nothing between them. You probably get a more likely to get a goal out of Chilwell, but you can't split him. So, spoilers: Ben Chilwell comes in our back five, so it's all right. But for the back four, it's Luke Shaw. Now, the only disagreement we had about this particular squad, Jay, was at right back, and. Again, I think it's a very similar thing to what we've just said. Reece James in our back five is an absolute shoo-in. But a back four, next to people like John Stones, next to people like Ben White, next to people like Tyrone Mings, whoever gets picked, I think Diego Simeone's Kieran Trippier is the better option. But you disagree. Yeah,
I think Simeone has put this Kieran Trippier into another level of defending. He's absolutely brilliant. I reckon maybe a year ago, if this tournament was played last year, he might not get into this squad, but he absolutely should do now. That being said, I have a lot of love for Reece James. Same with Reece James,
though. That exact sentence could be used for Reece James.
Absolutely. But I have a lot of love for Reece James. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think he's our best right back as a full right back. A lot of people talk about Trent's attacking ability. A lot of people mention Walker's kind of pace, and that kind of always comes into the conversation. He is the complete right back. He can do it all, and he can do it all to a very good standard. Don't sleep on him defensively. Look at the Champions League run. He was so good. He was played at right centre back, not even right back. That's how good he was. So I really do think he's the best right back for the situation. But listen, I'm not going to say no to Kieran Trippier as well. It's not like he's a bad option, but I just do think Reece James is better.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Reece James. I know I'm a Tottenham fan. That's not what this is. For me, it's just about, free kicks, deliveries. Reece James, at Chelsea, Reece James isn't the guy to whip the ball in. He obviously has, but, he's not the shoo-in. You've got Ziyech, you've got Jorginho, you've got people with delivery, yeah?
Yeah.
For me, if any dead ball situation on that right-hand side, Kieran Trippier is the more likely to find the heads of the players we've got up front. And so, you know what? I'm going to pull rank just because we're going to talk about our ideal 5 and you win
What fucking rank?
Oh yeah, good point. I'm behind on all the fucking videos, aren't I, at the moment? I'm putting ranks as host for today. I'm hosting today, Joe.
Okay.
So we're saying Kieran Trippier, but that's not a discredit for Reece James. It's not. I promise you. He features heavily in our list. We've got 2 midfielders, Jay, and we don't want to see Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson passing the ball backwards for 90 minutes. So we've gone for Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. Pivot. Kind of, not really a pivot, but you know what I mean.
It's actually beautiful, and I didn't even think of this, right? But when we saw it in that friendly game, it's a beautiful, beautiful partnership they could have in midfield. Jude Bellingham is so exciting. He's so young, which is a slight worry, but he's already so competent and grounded. And then Rice has again had a brilliant season. So them two playing together, Rice playing the more defensive role, which we know he can do, and then Jude carrying the ball forward. I think it actually works so well.
And what this squad gives us as well is spoilers for the next player. We've got Mouse and Mount. We've got Mason Mount playing just ahead of them. And what that means is, if England come under the cosh, Declan Rice can so easily slot between Stones and White, be that anchor. We transition to a back 3, and you've got Bellingham and Mount, brilliant ball-playing midfielders, can link that defence to that attack. I think you've got the best of both worlds, you know, in that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mason can be that creative middle player, whilst also spreading it out to the 2 wingers who we're about to talk about now. But that midfield for me, this is our dream team. Obviously, that is so sick. I'd love to see that. Just please, Gareth, please.
And then so we move on to the 2 wingers, and for me, I mentioned this the other day. TalkSport seemed to mention that Jack Grealish hadn't really done enough to shoe in it for a starting place. Like, he'd actually sort of disappointed. Baffling for me. Yeah. What's so important about Jack Grealish is, like, he's the most fouled player in the Premier League. You'll know all about this, Jay, with Eden Hazard a few years ago. The key to this England squad gaining ground, gaining forward, pushing forwards, is those sorts of fouls. You know, letting players like Trippier, whoever it is, James, Mount, Kane, from set pieces, and having him being direct and on that left-hand side, I should mention, while Rashford and Sterling have really tailed off towards the end of the season. You know, he's got the number 7 shirt. Put him on the wing. Let him Beckham this tournament up.
I do think as well, giving him the number 7 is quite significant from Southgate. That's showing that he is more of a starter than the other lads.
Yeah, I mean, in the last tournament, Lingard had the number 7, so we know how big that number can be.
Massive. But also, in that, like, kind of bringing the ball forward and maybe drawing a foul, that kind of thing. And there's been so many comparisons to Grealish and Gaza, almost to a point which is pissing me off, right? But I was at work today. David Platt's goal against Belgium. Yeah. So it was the Gaza run forward that then got the foul, that then was whipped in, and then for David Platt to score. That is exactly what Grealish can do in a dying moment of the game. Bring the ball, get fouled, bring everyone up the pitch.
So what you're saying is the wrong England player has dyed his hair silver.
Absolutely. Foden, mate, you try him, but Grealish, go and nip to the shop, son. Get some blonde tips.
On that other wing, again, like we've just said, Sterling and Rashford don't make the cut for us. Jadon Sancho
give it away there,
mate. Ended the season phenomenally. He scored 2 fantastic goals in the DFB final, DKB. DFB, German Cup final. Obliterated RB Leipzig with 2 goals. He hit form. He's so talented. He's exciting. He will probably be a United player by next season. He has to start.
Yeah, I love. I almost forgot about him when we was discussing this earlier. But Jadon Sancho has something special. You said it yourself, Josh. He's like a right-sided winger. Something we kind of lack a lot of. He's perfect. He needs to start there, surely.
And in our squad, he's got that link to Bellingham.
Yeah,
They'll both They know each other's. I don't know how well they know each other. I haven't been watching them that closely. I don't know. And then up top, there's not really much. There's not really much debate, is there? It's Harry Kane, last tournament's Golden Boot winner, the man you want in the dying moments. We saw it against was it Tunisia last World Cup? Header at the back post in the final few seconds. That was a wild time. And for me, this squad, and I'll go back to it, whether it has Kieran Trippier or Reece James in it, or Walker, any fucking one of them has everything we need from a team that I would be excited to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably get a bit of slack here for not having Foden in the starting lineup.
Yes,
I think.
I was going to mention that. Yes, go.
Because he's the in form kind of. Everyone's talking about Foden right now. Man's bleach blonded his hair today. Blonded, I don't think that's the word, but
no, he is well and truly blonded.
He's and it is harsh, but this is the reality. We have so many good attacking players, and I think we're thinking of a team and a system with this, and he fits into it. But like, there's we both agree that Mason Mount's ahead of him. Jack Grealish needs to play for the qualities he brings, all this and that. But
yeah, and I think
this tournament, this tournament, we have 5 subs. And we have a large squad that will be utilised. So Foden will get more minutes than maybe a normal tournament. I think he'll be used as a substitute to come in for Mount, to come in for Sancho. Any one of those 3, to be fair, even Grealish, to come in, switch it up, be more direct, and that can happen at any point, and he will be used for that. So we're not disregarding him. We know he's a talent. But yeah, I think we might get a bit of hate for that.
Well, yeah, maybe. I think, this is specifically a squad against Croatia. For me, I would start playing players like Foden, maybe to try and break down Scotland. So there is, this is specifically opening game who we want to see, I guess. But yeah, like Jay said, there are 5 players off the bench. They're just as important as the starters, especially if one of them comes on and bags a goal. So there's no disrespect to Foden. He's probably technically one of England's most gifted players. Pardon me. And I hope we see him in this first game. But just in mine and Jay's very well-oiled machine, he's a cog that comes on later. It's fine. Maybe. As well as, players like Calvert-Lewin and players like, Sterling running at tired legs, Rashford running at tired legs. It's all good.
I think with the back 5, we'll rattle through this one a bit quicker.
It's very, very similar. Yeah.
But mixed around. So do you want to rattle through that, Joe?
Yeah, no, we'll just basically with the front 3 is the same. Everything we said about the front 3, rewind it if you want. That still stands. Unfortunately for us, Jude Bellingham, just because of experience and age, drops out of this squad, and the midfield pivot is Mount and Rice. You've got energy and forward momentum. Never forget that when Mount made his England debut, he was absolutely horrendous at tracking back, and he's not that player anymore. He's dynamic enough now to understand his defensive role, his attacking role, especially with the support of someone like Rice in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Mason's an absolute Duracell bunny now. He runs everywhere, gets back.
Chilwell will replace Shaw. He's been more used to that wing-back position. He's probably got a better eye for a goal. We still want Ben White and John Stones in there. We still want Jordan Pickford in there. The only minor adjustment here is Kieran Trippier definitely doesn't make this back 5 because we have Kyle Walker and Reece James, 2 players that have played exceptionally throughout their career at centre-back and right-back. And what better tool to shit up an opposition to have not actually know which one of them's going to hold and which one of them's going to go. Like, they can just interchange that position all game, and that's kind of an exciting thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, if we did play the back 5 and we saw those 2 out there, that would be so sick. And like you said, the opposition won't know what to do with that one, I don't think.
As long as they have a clear understanding and don't suddenly both find themselves at the edge of the box, like, oh no, you're not supposed to be here.
Bumping into each other.
And a goal just being scored, and they're like, oh no, what have we done? So yeah, very similar squad, just a few tweaks. It's pretty much, actually, looking at it, we've basically just replaced Shaw for Chilwell and Bellingham for James. So, Walker. Bellingham for Walker. It's all right. It's still good. Still, most of the principles we discussed work out. But unfortunately, Jay, as you alluded to, it's not me and you out there donning the waistcoats, is it?
It is not. It is Gareth Southgate in a very weird-looking suit. I'm not a fan. We've gave our team. We're going to talk about how we think Gareth is going to line up and how we kind of don't like it. But I don't want to shit on him too much. I don't feel like one of those people. I don't like that, and we're going to end the video in a different way. But I just want to put it out there. I'm not shitting on him too much. He hasn't got a great suit, and he might not pick the best team. But listen, he's the man at the moment.
There's not a lot to dissect here. It's Gareth Southgate. We're saying 5 at the back. It's Gareth Southgate, so we're clearly going to be playing a back 5. Starting off at left wing back, like we said, it's probably a knife edge for Gareth Southgate too, but something tells me he prefers Shaw.
Yeah, I think he does, which is completely fair. I think he's played Shaw in these friendlies. Even though Chilwell I didn't join it straight away. I think it's clear that he likes Shaw better, but which you can't blame, especially when you talk about link-ups as well. Shaw can play nicely with... Oh, Maguire isn't in the back line, of course, because he's injured. Take that point away. He likes Shaw.
And again, agreeing with us, I think Kyle Walker has been brought as a centre-back, mainly. Hopefully we see him get forward a bit, but... especially with Maguire out, the solidity that Kyle Walker provides with his pace and years of playing in a Pep Guardiola team, it's Kyle Walker and John Stones as part of the back 3, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think Kyle Walker, he's done that a couple of times now, hasn't he, Gareth? He likes Walker in that right centre-back position, and if you are going with a 3 at the back, it's nice to have one of those being really pacey, so it's perfect for that.
And then that leaves the final centre-back. And to be honest, this is a flip of a coin between Conor Cody. Obviously, he is the back 3 man. We don't want to ever see Conor Cody in a back 2, but a back 3 for Wolves, he's played it for years. That system lost 4-0 to Burnley. He did have an exceptional game against Tottenham. He actually got man of the match, even though we scored 2 goals. It was a very upsetting time, actually, but... We actually went for Tyrone Mings, and just because Gareth Southgate seems to love this man, and I think he seems like a nice guy. He seems great, but he should have been sent off against Austria. He's a bit reckless. For me, he's not even the best English defender centre back at Villa. Ezri Konsa is far better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we think he'll be the 3rd man in that back 3.
And let's face it, we've completely missed the boat with Tomori. Why is Tomori not in this squad?
Well, I said to you, didn't I? I was talking about Tomori. I was talking about Tarkowski. I was talking about... Who was the 3rd one that I said? Oh, I'm not going to get it now.
You mentioned it, Konsa.
Oh, I did. Maybe it was Konsa then. Yeah, I mean, for me, Tomori, if you're going to take a centre-back that's kind of proved his mettle, it would be Tomori. AC Milan are going to take up that option to buy him, and they're not going to regret it, and Chelsea might.
The second we loaned him out, I knew that was going to be us regretting it. He's an absolute talent. I know he's not at this one, and it's a massive shame he's not at this one, but he will be at the next one because he's brilliant. And I would like to see him there instead of Mings, but yet, like you said, I think we think Gareth Southgate likes Mings. He trusts him. We just kind of don't. He's like you say, he's a bit reckless. Don't think he's too composed. I think he lets his decision making isn't the best as we've seen. So yeah, we're a bit worried about that one. But like I said, centre back is where we have the least amount of talent, isn't it?
Yeah. So on to right back. I don't think there's much to dissect here. He could surprise us, but Southgate loves Kieran Trippier. He was at the press conference. I did actually say a theory to you, didn't I? That Trippier, Walker and Pickford are on the boxes of those Bud Light boxes. So surely they always knew they were going. You're not putting their faces on that box. It's like...
Yeah, Bud Light knew. Bud Light knew. They've got the taps. They got the taps. They got the leaks inside the squad. They fucking knew. Yeah, no, Trippier, again, I'm not even too worried about this one. I love Reece, but Trippier is brilliant, and he also has experience, something this whole squad lacks, to be fair. It's a young squad, so Kieran Trippier has experience. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. For me, Southgate, even though he's playing that back 3 because he doesn't trust us defensively, he's still not going to then... what's the word, release the midfield as much as he should in regards to who's covering that back three. And for that reason, we kind of see a double pivot of Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, which is uninspiring, to say the least.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's weird. This video feels weird because we've gone from our dream team and excitement to ending on a bit of a negative note. But if we see Phillips and Rice play together, listen, I like Phillips. I think I've been persuaded a little bit. I didn't really see why he was in the squad at first. I like him and the way he runs. Oh shit! My camera's just turned off. Hold on. Sorry, I'll start that again. I'll start that again.
Don't just mate. You know, Meat Dog's coming out. Continue.
Thanks, Meat Dog. Yeah, I like Phillips. He's proved me wrong. I like the running that he can do. I like how much pressure he brings to the game and all that kind of stuff. But seeing two of them in the same team, it really, really drags the life out of a team. And I know it's defensive. And listen, this might be useful when we get to those latter stages, if we get to those latter stages. But when we're playing Croatia, Scotland, don't want to be seeing this, Gareth, please.
You know what? I'm staring at the front three we've picked, Jay, and I can see it happening. We've picked Marcus Rashford on the left, Mason Mount on the right, but kind of not on the right. You know, he can kind of drift about, and Harry Kane up top. I can see that happening, but the more I look at this squad as Gareth Southgate, I'm picturing it. I've got my waistcoat on. I'm looking at my 26 boys. I'm struggling not to see Raheem Sterling in there. I know he's obviously nowhere near our team, Jay, but just think for a minute. I am Gareth Southgate and stare at this squad. Does it sit right with you?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And Sterling's ended the season pretty poorly, but like you said, Gareth does like him. He has his loyalties in some places. I can see what you mean.
And this isn't a discredit to Mason Mount, but I'm just going to go a bit off script here because this isn't what me and Jay planned, but my opinion has changed. Again, this isn't my opinion, but I could almost see Mason Mount being dropped for that Croatia game. Don't forget he hasn't played I suppose neither Sterling, but just with the amount of solidity we have at the back, I can see Southgate going, right, we need pace now. Rashford, Sterling. And again, I disagree with that. It's not an indictment of Mount. I would start Mount 100%. I'm converted to Mason Mount. But do you see what I'm saying? I know what you mean.
And listen, this is kind of like the worst case scenario. We don't want to see this. And listen, please God that Southgate, kind of doesn't do this. This is kind of almost us saying let's not go for this, and to give Southgate a little credit, I completely see where you're coming from with all of this, but when he's bringing Jack Grealish, Foden and Mount, I see at least one of them starting, but I know exactly where you're coming from with that. And also what worries me about this formation and these players is Harry Kane is incredible and can almost play two roles. Well, he does play two roles for Tottenham, doesn't he? He plays striker and playmaker at the same time.
It has the awards to back it up.
And he has the awards to back it up, absolutely. But in our squad, when you look at our squad, Grealish, Mount and Sancho, he doesn't need to do the second role. He just needs to fully focus on one. And imagine
you say that,
fully
but
focused
if he could ping
Kane.
Balls through to Rashford and Sterling.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. He could do that, and he brings the wingers into play. But I think it's more a fluid system that we'd like to see with the talent that's going. So that's one thing that would worry me. Kane dropping a bit too deep. We have seen that for England. For Tottenham, it's a different story. But with England, we've seen Kane drop a little bit too deep, and some of the players don't overlap well.
Cool. I've made my case for Southgate to mine, Jay, but I'm going to leave the final Southgate vote to you. The front three. What do you think? Don't forget, you're not betraying Mason Mount if you leave him out.
No,
if
I
you
know.
Put him in. I understand.
No, I think he's in because Southgate clearly loves him as well. He does. Like he has every right to, and so do I. But Southgate does love him, so I think he's in there. I think we go what we went with: Rashford, Kane, and Mason.
Rashford, Kane, and Mount. Rashford and Kane can almost play as two strikers themselves with Mount in behind. So instead of a 5-2-3, it could almost become a 5-2-1-2. So that could happen. Mason Mount could drift over to the left, drift over to the right, stay central. So yeah, maybe that is right. I think it's a difficult one. Trying to predict this 26 men into 11, we're always going to make some mistakes. We've tried to put our best Southgate head on, and it's not what we want to see. We've discussed what we want to see.
But you know what? This being said, right? We've just give there 3 different squads, 3 good squads still. Even though we have our problems with the Southgate potential squad, there's 3 good squads there. There's a bit of rotation there. We have such a good big squad here, full of talent, full of players that can come in and do a job. That's something to be praised by and to be excited for. The fact that we have such good depth in each position, the fact that we can have a Rashford to come in for a Sancho, to come in for a fucking Jack Grealish, all of these players are brilliant. So as much as it's a weird kind of we don't want this to happen, it's also these players are brilliant and we have a lot of depth. So we need to be excited by that as well.
Yeah, you're completely right. And yeah, sorry if you're offended that we've left Foden out. Sorry if you're offended that we haven't spoken about Sterling as much.
We just got a City biased.
We just hate City.
We just hate City.
We've done some videos before. I actually have a bit of a bad feeling about this tournament, and it's not because of England's quality. It's just because we're not going to have any nice. Well, obviously some surprises could happen, but for me, we're not going to have any nice round of 16, semi-final, quarter-final games against the likes of a Sweden, a Colombia. If we get out of this group, we're most likely hitting some big boys straight away. And we have the talent, obviously, we just discussed that, to beat them. But my God, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, let's end it on a higher note than that.
Yes. Sorry that you did promise that we were going to do that.
Let's end on a higher note than that. Right, listen, it's all been said, it's all been done. We've discussed squads, we've discussed all that nonsense, who's starting where. There's no more friendlies to be played. It is just time now to get to the Euros. It's time to back the boys. It's time to back Southgate. He's in the job. If you like it or not, he's in the job. We've got to back the team that he picks. The Euros is coming. Let's get excited. Let's try and enjoy it. I'm going to try and get pumped up for this. You should too. That's what I want to change now. The England conversation is always draining. It always is. Let's try and change it. 2018 wasn't. Let's get back to that.
This may sound negative, but I mean it in a positive way. Football fans were designed to be hurt. So just throw yourself in the deep end, get excited, believe. And if you get hurt, then most football fans get hurt every single season by their Wickhams, by their Barnsleys, by their, Tottenhams. It happens. But, if you keep believing and if you keep pushing through, Adam will not get as much satisfaction out of England finally doing it. Because he doesn't give a shit. Me and Jay are there. Me and Jay are always there. We're always excited. And when it finally happens, we'll be able to turn around. And when he celebrates, we'll briefly look at him and go, shut up, mate. You don't deserve this. So make sure you're on the right side of this conversation.
Of destiny.
When England finally lift all trophies.
Every single trophy. Come on, the boys. Like I said, Euro 2020 is here. We're going to be covering it as much as we can. Like Josh has said, we're meeting up for the first game. First time we've all met up in person for a very long time. Content will come from that. Make sure you subscribe. This video is way longer than we wanted it to be. So thank you for watching. But it's good.
And as always, tell your dad.
Tell your fathers. Tell Southgate. Tell fucking Mason Mount. Tell Maguire to stay off the meds. Tell Henderson to stop pulling rank and fucking just stop.
J-mate, everything.
Everyone's
stop rolling.
Just
Please stop.
Tell everyone, man.